Surprise! So this is the second time I myself am a surprise. The first time was to my family as they were expecting a girl, right? And it was a boy. Well, indeed, I planned to stay away from lecturing for this year. I took a gap year. I didn't take a gap year after graduating high school, but with Dr. Park, we had such good project that it was a sin not to show it to you. So then I called him and said, okay, I finally want to come. And he says, well, sorry, no more places. And then I said, but, well, can you move maybe some lecturer? No. So he said, okay, I'm going to give you 20 minutes of my time. So here we go, 20 minutes for zero bone loss concepts. Now, what zero bone loss concept is really clear clinical pathway to develop and maintain crestal bone stability. And you can see these beautiful X-rays. And even more, I would show that it's actually not only we're talking about maintaining the bone, but growing it. If you see of these two X-rays, you see bone getting much better. Also, when we talk about short implants, now this is the placement X-ray, and here you have just a couple of years follow-up. Look really what the bone is doing. In my eyes, in my understanding, if you give a good conditions for the bone, if you follow ZBLC rules, you could see that in 9 months, actually, even faster than the pregnancy, you can have bone growth buccally and lingually, right? And this is the same case I just showed before. So growing of the bone, giving the tissues, it's completely normal if you follow ZBLC protocol. And look at this. I mean, of course, first of all, this is immediate. Not possible to do in delayed, but surely right implant, right soft tissue maintenance, you could have excellent outcome. Now, is thin buccal plate is contraindication for immediate and anterior region? Of course not. Take a look. Before and after, if you just place implant correctly, you can have this thicken your buccal plate during implant placement, and that results in excellent soft tissues. So we could go on and on talking about how immediate implants in ZBLC really have changed everything. Fistula, is it a contraindication? Infection? No, take a look before and after. And to be open, actually, we had 2 fistulas, an incisor and premolar, all of them, both of them were just done and secured during immediate implant placement. And finally, to show you the most crazy case, which we did, take a look at this. Take a look at this tooth. 3 major contraindications for immediate infection, lack of apicocoronal stability, and thin buccal plate. That's how it looks after 2 years follow-up, with thicker buccal plate than before, and anchoraging implant, not apicocoronally, but mesiodistally. Well, I always have then this question, okay, how to predictably do this? I mean, I can do it, can you do it? So I always say, yes, you need knowledge, right? So you just need to know how to do. And zero bone loss concepts has been based, it's not a concept which emerged like yesterday. 2009, in 2009, these were the first publications on zero bone loss concepts from the journals. So 2019, it took 10 years and it became a book. Yeah, world-known bestseller where all knowledge was accumulated and put into the one book. Now, is this enough? No, in 2019-21, I launched online education, which really still is the most successful educational platform where you can reach from any spot on the world and to learn zero bone loss concepts. Now, But finally, I always was lacking something. It means it's knowledge. How to help you really to perform these knowledges into reality. So 2024, finally, we really have a successful protocol in a box. So, ZBLC kit, the result of 15 years of research and work and much more. And want to take a look what's inside? Okay, let's do it quickly. What's inside? And actually inside it's not the tools. It's solving of major 5 problems which I learned by placing implants and some things lacking and making our surgeries much, much more difficult. Now we'll start with this, like internal question, how to predictably select tie base height. We're so tired of all this, bone losses which can be avoided. Some might say just use the highest one, right? But I would say not always. If you use the higher tie base, you might end up like this, lack of compression of the tissues and also food accumulation. So how we should select tie base, for example, in this case? So ladies and gentlemen, I want to present you the first in the world T-base detector. So it is really integrated of tie base heights on the same tool, which you can put on your implant, make an X-ray, and you can already have some variables how to detect your tie base height. Now, this is a really simple thing, but if you take any rich system, you have different tie base heights, and it's all accompanied into one tool. And not only vertical, but also horizontal. So vertical and horizontal heights of tie bases are ideally like they are on true tie bases on the stool. So how does it work? Well, you have case like this. The least thing what I want here, if that would not be my case, that a poor prosthodontist would really damage it. So I have my individual healing abutment, right? How should I select my tie base? So 2 things now you can do. Now the first thing, you make an X-ray, you see 0.6, 1.5 to 3, 4 millimeters, but also you look at the heights clinically. Because as I said, not only height is important, you have to have sufficient contact of the zirconia to the tie base. The higher tie base, the less zirconia you have for soft tissues, and that's not good. So in this case, we're selecting 1.5 millimeter tie base, and it really, restoration just goes inside without any issues, without any problems. So 1.5, and the rest is for zirconia. So that's how you really make your life much simpler. Another situation. Now, how to select? Don't give your labs the permission to choose tie bases themselves. You are the one who is responsible. So I'm sending the lab the X-ray like this. I'm also looking at the clinical pictures where I see the exact place where zirconia will begin and titanium will end. And that's how we can make all our now selection of the tie base really predictable and easy. So that's one. Now, what problem do we have here? I mean, do you see anything? That's the point. It's difficult really to see sometimes when we place the implants because of blood, because of saliva, of the patient movements, and we are never sometimes sure how deep the implant is. How do we check the depth of implant placement? Like, sounds very stupid question. You take a probe and check, is it accurate? Like you always look this and this, it's not always sure. So there is solution for this as well. It's ZBLC drivers. The driver which really allows you to know how exactly your implant is placed. Very simple as well. 4, 5, 6. 4 millimeters, 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters. And when your implant is gradually placed in the bone, then you just know how deep you are. So here you have 4 millimeters, and when the end of the driver will touch the free gingival margin, because free gingival margin is the place from which I am calculating the depth of implant placement. And still, the depth of implant placement is the most crucial thing in immediate implant placement and in delayed, as we saw in previous lectures. So to be clear, and you know, take a look 4. I know I'm 4, its minimum depth is there. Again, very easy and very intuitive and simple. Now, if I need more, yes, sometimes you need more. Super wide implants, I always recommend to place them 6 millimeters below free gingival margin. How to detect that? You just look, no, not for 5, you just look for 2 higher stops. And that's, again, your clear definitions, how you define how deep your implant is. First video you have 5, the second video 6. And you know that you will be okay. That's simple. Third problem, can bone be your enemy? Well, if you don't know what to do with this, or you do not how to select tie base, it can be your enemy, because implants are placed subcrestally, and that's another way of really working. That's why you need to take care of your bone which is above the bone. Now, we all know what happened here, right? Sometimes it's very difficult to place multi-unit abutment because of the bone, and we're afraid to remove it. So what do we do if we do not have a really excellent bone profilers? You take a burr and you go around. I think everybody of us has done this, and was anyone happy about this? No. So this is ZBLC bone profilers. Now, what cute thing about these 3, and only 3 are, there are 2 exceptional things about these profilers. Now, the first one is that it has a pin which really protects the bone. If you see this tiny, tiny slice over here, so the profiler actually never compresses the implant. It always just stops above the bone. So you are not removing too much bone, never. You're always just removing the right amount of the bone. So this top, yeah, and it can be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but you're placing it, and then you just profile the bone out, which is above your implant. Now, that's one thing. Even more better is another connection which we made, how not to remove more bone than necessary. So our bone profilers are directly linked to what I'm going to use as prosthesis on top. Either it's tie base or straight multi-unit. So I'm selecting profiler number 1. If I will need angulated multi-unit, 17 degrees, I'm selecting profiler number 2, and also in other cases when there is extreme angulation and at 30 degrees, I'm selecting profiler number 3. So that's really easy way to work, and I agree to the lecturer before who said you cannot work correctly without profiling the bone. Now, ZBLC profilers will give you the correct profiling. You will remove just the right amount of the bone, not too little, not too much. And also what is very good about them, you will see they are really sharp. They cut like hell. And you just go once, and that's it. And you remove the right amount of the bone. Now, what's also in the kit? Multi-unit detector. Unique thing. Really, nobody else has this. So you have different heights of multi-units, and again, it's combined into one tool. Because there are different manufacturers who can take and measure different height multi-units, but we have matched it into one. So surgery looks like this. You can inspect it and select your thigh base height during the surgery because, right, you're placing multi-unit detector, and you can see again the relation because it's not only about the bone, it's about the relation between bone and soft tissues. You need certain height of soft tissues, 4 millimeters, golden rule, and then according to that you are using multi-unit abutments. So of course guided surgery, may reduce this, but at the end of the day we are not always doing guided surgery. We are not always doing guides, so clear definition how to look and how to select your multi-unit height also is in the tool. Now finally, very nice picture, you see, and according to this, I know the height of my multi-unit, and I know relationship between soft tissues and my multi-unit. Again, it's also you have more metal, you have less zirconia. And zero bone loss is also about zirconia. Another way to use multi-unit detector is like this. For example, you didn't place multi-unit during surgery, but you change your mind and you need to select it now where implant is healed already. How are you going to do that? The same by multi-unit detector. You're placing it, you're making the X-ray, you see where you want to locate your margin, and additionally, you see where is your margin located clinically. Because what we're afraid of actually having recession and having things like that. So finally, what you will have also in the tool is angulated multi-unit detectors. Again, the idea is the same, 17 degrees and 30 degrees. How many multi-units the system has, they are all integrated into one. And you can check that during the implant surgery. So, extremely happy to finally say that after all these years of education, finally, ZBLC protocol now arrived in the box. I want to thank you for your attention, and